All right, hi Gemini. Welcome to October. This month I'm doing weekly readings, so you can look forward to videos every Monday. And right now I'm using the Tattoo Tarot. This is a new deck that I got recently and I love it. So let's get right into it. Okay, so just right off the bat, your overall card is the Tower. And the Tower can be a little bit scary because it talks about a situation that comes crumbling down. But the upside to that is that the Tower only really strikes when there is a crumbling foundation. So somewhere in your life, you have something that isn't working for you right now. Something that is doing you more harm than good. Something that you don't need in your life anymore. But because of the way we live our lives, usually we tend to build on things. Like we see a show, and then, for example, and then we show it to someone that we like, and then that person shows it to like another mutual friend, and now we have a whole community of people that watch this show, right? And then when you move on from that show, you sort of need to tell them, oh, I don't really like that show anymore. And in extreme cases, that can even cause fluctuation or friction between your friendships. And obviously I'm being a little bit facetious with that example of the show, but when it comes to things that are more serious, that may very well be the case, is that you start to see some issues arise because of you making changes or having changes brutally made to your life. So I'm under the impression that this is probably a change that you can see coming, but you don't necessarily want to happen, which is why it's sort of like Tower moment. This is sort of like divine intervention hour. But I definitely see that you're coming out of it. I'm not gonna lie, you have a lot of fives. The Five of Cups talks about sort of spilled love, because 3 of the 5 cups are spilled. The Five of Wands talks about conflict and arguments, basically fighting. And the Eight of Wands the Eight of Swords talks about having a blindfold. So those 3 cards to me are talking about your situation that you might be in, or situation that you're coming out of. And like, congratulations to you guys. It doesn't look very easy, and I'm proud of you guys for getting out of it, because I see that Eight of Wands, which talks about sort of the wounded warrior that continues to fight even though they are healing, and then the Two of Swords. So what does all this mean? First of all, there's some situation in your life, that possibly a relationship, where you guys fought over and over and over and over again. And I think it got to the point where it was like, oh, I don't think that this relationship is ever salvageable ever again. But like, I think you need to take a step back and sort of reevaluate what is it that's really going on. Because I feel like sometimes, especially air signs, they get we'll get into our heads, and then it's hard to sort of know what's actually going on because you've been overthinking it for so long. So what may very well be a mundane like disagreement could retroactively look like a huge argument. So I feel like definitely talk through it and see what's going on, or at least see what the other person perceives to be going on. And then that way you'll be able to sort of reach a conclusion on how you feel and on what you should do. Because I see the Two of Swords, which talks about stalemates and indecisions. So somewhere along the line, I see maybe the story of a relationship where there's so much issues or so many arguments that you feel like it can't be saved. But I feel like if you take that blindfold off and you sort of fall into this Eight of Wands energy where you're like, okay, I might be in a bad situation, but I can continue going, you'll be able to come to a decision. And the Two of Swords for some of you might not even be the fact that you can't decide what to do. It might be that you don't know what you should do. Like, is this relationship worth fighting for? Should I just let it go? And I think that's something that you need to sort of sit down and evaluate. Talk to people, because talk to people around you, especially like a mother. I'm getting with the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups in this right now for me feels like, hey, maybe talk to your mom. This Knave of Swords maybe feels like a younger brother almost. So I think that if you start sort of talking to your family, it's like, hey, this is going on. This is what I think. What do you think? They'll be able to provide you with some pretty good knowledge, some pretty good insight. I feel like for others of you, you should try to embody these qualities. The Knave of Swords isn't always the best at articulating themselves and sort of have the tendency to come in and blurt out what they want to say. And maybe this situation calls for more of that. Calls for more of you talking and less of you thinking. I still think that you should do it obviously in a cordial way and a nice way, but not in a way that requires you overthinking it night and day, is sort of what I'm trying to get at. And then lastly, I see the Fool card. And the Fool card to me is always like the new beginnings. This is packing up your bag and moving to Canada. I don't think any of you guys are going to literally move to Canada, but I feel that you're definitely going to see a new beginning in the situation. So I think that whatever you end up doing, as long as sort of you're happy with the situation, you're going to see something new going on. You're going to see something new in the situation. And I think that's what a lot of you guys are looking for. I think a lot of you guys probably get bored with the mundanity of it all. And obviously fighting day in and day out isn't a good way to live. So I feel like once you see this new beginning coming on the horizon, you're going to feel a lot more motivated to be that Eight of Wands. And obviously if you're like in an abusive relationship or anything, you shouldn't stay. You should always talk to the people around you and see what the best way for you to leave is. But I feel like for others of you where it's just about miscommunications and maybe like financial stress or worries, like that time's over. So all in all, it's looking like a really good reading. I'm happy for you guys. I wish you guys the best of luck. And I hope to see you guys next week for your weekly reading where we can possibly look a little bit more into the situation. Bye, guys.